Hello, how are you doing? It has been a while. And I'm here to just explain why it is that I have been away for just a little while. I'm trying to make this video outside, even though it's a little bit wet and it's spring, so the bugs are out. Hopefully, they don't bother me until I'm finished, and you'll hear some birds. I guess that's fine. But yes, I have been away for a little while. I returned to social media maybe 2 to 3 weeks ago, but I didn't do this video because I was still waiting on some inspiration. Like, what should I talk about? Well, I'm gonna talk about my journey of being away for 21 days. It was a 21-day fast. It's popularly called the Daniel fast, and you can find that in Daniel chapter 10. I think specifically verse 3, where he didn't eat any meat, any wine, sugar, stuff like that. The fast is not just about changing your diet, but also to accomplish a few things. If you read the story, Daniel, it's a religious story, but then you can read it. It's very fascinating. He wanted some answers from the Lord, and he thought he's going to go into mourning for a few days so he would be able to get those answers. And lo and behold, the answers were released, but they were held up by the prince of the air. And because of his communication with God and his consistency and sacrifice, then the answer was released. So people nowadays do the Daniel fast for various reasons, mainly to release answers that they feel like have been held up. For me, it was about accomplishing a few things, including self-control. That I think that was the main one, just to have some self-control and discipline. I remember someone told me some time ago that people who succeed or is extremely good at something are not necessarily the smartest people in the world, but they do have a lot of discipline, and that's what set them apart from everybody else. Discipline. And I tend to struggle with that. I have been struggling with it for a good while now, so I decided that if I can eat but I can't eat all that I want to eat, and I can't eat everything that I see, then it is a very good way to have some self-control and discipline. Exercising or working out in the morning is another way that I exercise discipline and try to stick with it and condition my mind that no matter what happens, no matter if it rains or snows or if the sun is hot, I'm gonna do it. And that's one of the things that I've learned over the years living in Japan, that they are very, very disciplined, and when it comes down to doing something, they ensure that it gets done, come hell or high water, as Jamaicans would say. And so that was my reason for really doing the Daniel fast. And for that period of time, what I did was to desist from really looking at my phone so much, because we tend to get carried away with that. Sometimes we don't realize. So I stayed away from social media for the most part. I still watch some YouTube videos, but I made sure not to watch the more entertaining stuff. It was more motivational or meditational. I also kept in touch with family and friends on WhatsApp, but I didn't do much in terms of updating my status and things like that. And for someone who make TikTok videos and upload videos and memes and stuff on Facebook and Instagram, I stayed away from that for the entire period. I uploaded one or two on Facebook, but on Instagram, because you can get so carried away with scrolling so quickly, I made sure not to go on one of my Instagram pages that I felt like would have really caused me to get carried away. How was the journey? To be honest, it was not that bad. I did some research before I started. I watched some YouTube videos of persons who had done the Daniel fast before and got some insights on how they felt, and got some meal ideas as well. So most of my time was spent basically just conditioning my mind, preparing my body, preparing myself for this big move. It's 21 days of eating like a vegan, basically vegan diet. So I had to be so careful in reading ingredients, making sure that I'm eating what I'm supposed to, trying to prepare stuff in a creative way to give me the nutrients that I needed. As it concerned meal preparation, it wasn't bad because I really like to cook and I like to try new things, so I had fun doing it. But the third week was a bit of a struggle. There was so much food in the house. They kept bringing in food, chicken, cake, all sort of stuff. But I told myself I'm gonna finish well, I'm gonna finish strong. So I stuck with it, and I did it. Regarding social media, let me just go back to that a little bit. It wasn't hard for me to stay away because I had already conditioned my mind, and I felt like it was a good break to come into myself, to find myself, to really just focus on personal development. And I'm gonna share with you a few things that I journaled because I did a lot of journaling on the journey. So once your spirit is aligned with your purpose and you're in tune with your spiritual self, then the natural will fall in place. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to be having challenges, because of course our natural or human self will want what it wants, but it means that you can finish successfully basically, and you'll be strengthened to do it. So I started with specific and general objectives, and I broke those down and intentionally put myself in the position to achieve them. And a major part of the journey was mental. Before I started, as I said before, I had to condition my mind that even if it gets hard, I wouldn't stop. So on the first day, I had a beautiful encounter. Something happened to me that never happened before while I was worshiping and in my room worshiping God. Like, he showed up in such a different way, and it was the first day and I felt like I was in love. I woke up the next morning, I was like, good morning, Jesus. So that was a very good encounter. And the following day I went to church. I decided to stay at church for the entire day, and that also opened up a door for me to have a beautiful interaction with a nice couple. I've never spoken to them on that level before. I ended up going to their house, so it was like love at first sight for us. I mean, we just shared really beautifully, shared our experiences. They asked me about Jamaica and I asked them about Australia and so on, and they shared with me how they grow their children, and I felt like God was just giving me some nuggets for the future. And it was just awesome. I'm feeling so blessed that I had that beautiful encounter with that couple. What I find is that once you start to align yourself with positive thoughts, positive feelings, stay away from negativity, that positivity will follow. And it started really soon in the journey. Not like it never happened before I started, but I'm just saying, like, the moment I started the fast, things just started happening, things that I wanted to happen, because I'm going to share with you further some of the objectives that I had, and some of them that I achieved all of them actually. So just bear with me. To be honest, I didn't miss entertaining people. I didn't miss the sad news that you would see on social media. I didn't miss the tease and the mix-up and the drama. It felt good focusing on family, friends, and personal development, creating memories that would last for a lifetime. I also pounced upon a video with a wonderful, a really amazing illustration of Ruth, the message of the book of Ruth in the Bible, and it was from a YouTube channel called The House. I've never seen their channel before, and that video just popped up. I watched it and I was really blessed, and there are so many beautiful messages that came out of that, and one of them spoke about empathy and having that love for people, that no matter what, you will always just see people for who they are. You won't judge based on where they're from and who they're associated with or what they've done in the past or anything like that, but just to love people unconditionally like God has instructed us to do, and to have empathy, because sometimes I find that even in speaking the truth, because I'm like, I'm a truthful person and you're gonna hear the truth from me. But I remember Karen told me, Karen, my big sister, she said, look, there's something that she has learned some time ago. Truth without grace is mean, and grace without truth is meaningless. So I find that even during the period I had, told someone the truth, and it was the truth, and it was right, and it was good suggestions and advice. But I could have, I could have just given them a little bit more empathy. And so that was one of the things I was working on as well. And that story really stuck out to me, and I learned some wonderful lessons. I also learned that once you create space in your life for good things to come, so you remove the bad things, you create space for good things to come in, and then you will find that there's a beautiful transformation. So during that period, I created space. I removed some old stuff like pride. Oh my God, I worked on that. I worked on my pride. I realized that pride manifests itself in different ways. And so sometimes we can say, oh, I'm not prideful, I don't have pride. But if we check, it may manifest in some way or the other. So I worked on that. I worked on unforgiveness, and that wasn't a big thing for me, but I was searching myself. I was saying, is there someone or something that I've done to someone that, I probably did not really apologize for? And even if the person was angry at me and they decided not to talk to me, but like, I'll be the bigger person and I'll just apologize. So I searched my heart, I found someone, and I sent an email, and she said, okay, apology accepted, and so on. To be honest, it's not the easiest thing to do, especially when you know that you were not totally wrong. When you're asking for such apologies, don't say, so and so and so and so, but, because that makes the apology null and void. So I ensured that I settled my heart. I prayed and I said, okay, I'm going to write the message without putting but in it. It was really, really hard, but it was fulfilling, and it gave a sense of release, so to speak, to know that you have nothing against someone. You don't hold grudges. So I ended up throwing up grudges out of my trunk, and fears, I ended up throwing that out, and temptations to do things that are not necessarily a part of my journey and should not be included in my life any at all. And in the end, I ended up receiving very, very good interactions with people, and I found a few friends along the journey. I'm not saying that I wouldn't find them before, but some of the ways that I found these people, and I got these people in my life, I think I would describe it as divine. So I had divine interactions and divine encounters, and I've also received a few other than the character building part of it, which was not, as I said, not the easiest thing, because soul searching can be difficult, but it is important, right? I also got a few blessings along the way. Those are like fringe benefits. In due time, I'll talk more about some of the fringe benefits that I gained from just moving away from the word per se, and just coming into my spiritual self, focusing on God, focusing on what He wants for me in this season, focusing on serving others, focusing on family, focusing on self-development, and just making sure that this season of my life is very well directed by the Lord, very well instructed, and the instructions are clear. The only way to have clear instructions and clear thought and mind to move forward is literally to stay away from the noise. Stay away from the noise. stay away from the phone. Social media, it really consumes your time, because when the phone gave me like the amount of hours spent on the phone, because you know iPhone tend to do that, it was significantly less, and I didn't even realize that I was spending so much time on the phone. And a lot of times we justify that, oh, I'm just talking to someone, oh, I'm just making this appointment, oh, I'm just checking this video, oh, I'm just looking at that. But really and truly, we don't need to spend so much time on the phone or iPad or laptop, whatever it may be. So it was a really good journey, and I'm still reaping the benefits from it, as I've said before. And I would encourage persons, even if it's not a Daniel fast per se, where you're gonna change your diet or restrict your diet in such a way, but just to take a sabbatical from social media, you know, take a sabbatical from talking to or dealing with people who are toxic and negative, and stay in nature and breathe. So it's beginning to rain, and I'm just gonna show you what's going on. The weather has not been the best, but we give thanks and we're just enjoying it as much as we can. I'm trying to zoom in to see if I can see the bird that is in the tree right there. Can you see him? Yeah, the rain is coming now, so I'm going to end this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful day, have a wonderful week, and have a wonderful month. It's almost the end of the year. Take care of yourself. Until next time. Bye.